Hi, this is Heidie Calero, again sharing with you the capsule of economic analysis. Today, we want to illustrate and analyze, is Puerto Rico a consumption economy? What are the categories where we spend the most, where we spend the less? How is it being financed in terms of our personal income and the ramifications that has not only for you personally, but also for the entire economy of Puerto Rico? The first graph illustrates the personal consumption expenditures of Puerto Rico from 1940 through 2018. The columns are the consumption. In 2019, $64.3 billion, and that represents 94% of GNP, of the measure of production of goods and services in Puerto Rico. Out of every dollar, 94 cents are spent on personal consumption. What are the categories where we, the Puerto Ricans, spend money? Well, 31% is being spent on housing and housing operations. 23% is being spent on health expenditures. Compare that with 1975, when we were spending 6%, and we didn't have the healthcare plan that is government sponsored and government paid by taxpayers. Whereas in 2018, we are spending more, and we have a healthcare plan that is paid by taxpayers. 17% in 2018 is spent on food and beverages, compared to 32% in 1975. So as Puerto Rico ages, as Puerto Rico grows in time, we are changing our healthcare, our personal consumption expenditures. It's important to illustrate. The second graph tells you that we sell less than what we buy. That is the proxy and illustrates why we are a consumption economy. And this is not only purchases of Puerto Ricans in terms of consumption of persons, but it includes the government, it includes the enterprises. So we are purchasing more. That's why we have a deficit of $13.1 billion than we did back in 1975. Is this sustainable? Let's go to the next question. Well, what are the sources of consumption? How is it being paid? Well, this graph illustrates personal income, the sources of personal income. Back in 1975, of $6.9 billion, 60% came from wages and salaries. 17% came from property, that is profits of companies in Puerto Rico, the residents, or dividends. And 23% came from transfer funds or federal funds, the food stamp program, housing. Compare that in 2018. Instead of 23%, our personal income is 42%. 42 cents out of every dollar comes from federal funds to persons. We do not control that. That's the important thing. It's in the hands of Congress, it's in the hands of the president, and so Puerto Rico is banking on continuing with this excessive consumption based on something it does not control and which can change at any point in time. So summarizing, our consumption during the past 33 years, from 1985 through 2018, has been growing at a clip of 4% annually to $64.3 billion. Federal funds that go to individual, $28.7 billion, growing at 6% annually. But debt of consumers is $21.3 billion, growing at a clip of 4%. So wages growing only 3% to $22.9 billion. So if we add up the debt of consumers plus the transfer payments, which are not in our control, it's 10% annually, whereas we are growing only with wages only 3%. This really raises questions as to how Puerto Rico and what is the strategy for the future. And our next capsule will talk about Puerto Rico as a production economy. Thank you.